nobody can teach me how to be the best rapper better than the best rapper. So I'm handling that.
Yo, that was shit. Damn, that was like one of the. What was the second to last conversation I had with the Notorious B.I.G.?
Okay.
AKA Biggie Smalls, AKA Big, AKA Frank White, the one and only Christopher Wallace. When you speak about goats,
Don't
if you
forget
don't
about Papa.
Big Papa. Okay. If you speak about goats, you have to mention his name. Greatest of all time, Christopher Wallace. You have to say his name. In the short period of time that he was in this music business, the music that he made, we talk about 25 years after his untimely demise, as if it was made yesterday, Heather B.
Yeah.
That's how prolific he was.
A movement.
Are you kidding me? I was in Oakland, California, dreaming of days I could walk the streets of Bed-Stuy and Clinton Hill.
Did you want to have those Timbs on? Did you want Timbs back then?
I did, but they hurt my knees. Timbs wasn't a West Coast thing. I didn't get Timbs. I couldn't assimilate
Only
that much.
East Coasters know how to walk in Timbs, Sway. I'm sorry.
Such a wordsmith this man was.
Right.
His words were powerful. His words spearheaded a whole era of music and mindset and thought. He made us want to be better. He made us feel like our dreams were within our arm's reach. It was all a dream. And then you saw that dream manifest.
Absolutely.
We often talk about manifestation in this era because we've become more emotionally intelligent and progressive. And so we are more in tune with our feelings and we are more in tune with our power. People like Notorious B.I.G., Christopher Wallace, had it. He had that light that makes us celebrate him all day. I got a picture of him that we took when he first came to the Bay Area with
That's
Craig
crazy.
Mack.
Man.
Now, Big looks sexy, but do y'all see me?
Well, what did you get?
You see me?
see the eyes?
Damn, you see my eyes?
You see
I
the
was
eyes?
I was a monster
Got the
back
light
then.
skin squint.
Had the Turkish
model
cut
face.
gold chain, and Big
Model
was like,
face Sway.
You saw him? You see me, CJ? Come on, man.
You got the light skin squint going on.
You saw the light skin. I was a beast back then, but that's not why we're here today. You know, but that movement and in those words and that artistic expression that he shared with the world was truly a gift from God. This man, in my opinion, was truly anointed. His story, his journey, if you saw the biopic, if you saw the docuseries, if you read this book, it was all a dream, Biggie in the world that made him, and you learn about his mother and her journey and how she even made it to Brooklyn from Jamaica to London and all the different places she had to go to find peace and land in the borough of Brooklyn. Is amazing, and it all ties in. If you look at the context of what's going on in society at the time that this man was born in the early 70s, I'm a 70s baby, so I could get it. That's why I could relate to it when we start seeing this man win through all the environmental pressures and pitfalls that we would put up against, not just psychological as well, emotional as well, what we were experiencing in the society at that time that this music came out. That's what made what he said in his words so powerful, because we always felt like he's speaking for us, right? He's inspiring us. And I pray and I thank God that I was able to be there. I was able to sit with this man and have these conversations, and we joked. And my brother took them around Oakland, all over the Bay Area, and cared for them. Because my brother was an official, thorough individual. And so when our promotion company, CJ, I'm going to talk to you about this, I had a promotion company called Streetwise Promotions. Justin, you may not know this because it's not in the book for some reason. I should have called it.
That's my fault. Second edition.
It's all good. It was a company that I formed with a man by the name of Anthony Daughtry, A.D., who had a company called the Daughtry Group. And Ingrid Best is somebody who we all know and love now, was one of the first people we hired, and a person by the name of Crystal Isaacs, and a young lady by the name of Bianca, and all these different people who went on to be prominent in this game today. We were responsible for taking your dad around, protecting him, feeding him, accommodating his vices, all of it, right? But in the process, him and I had some really solid conversations. He would ask me questions. Right. And at that time, I didn't realize how important that was, because he was reaching out for understanding, In the beginning, the climate was one way, and towards the end, the climate became another way because of what was going on, and the media provoked so-called battle between East and West Coast, and we got to talk and live through it all. Yep. You know, and I saw your dad the week of his untimely demise, and your dad was one of the most comedic people you would ever want to meet. He kept us laughing.
Right.
Lil C's was there. That's why my relationship with C's is so tight to this day. I got pictures of C's when he looked like he was in the 6th grade. I don't even know how he got in the club. But I'm proud to say that we have a really critically acclaimed journalist with us today that did a really thorough job in documenting the life and times of Notorious B.I.G. and adding context to it that many don't really bother to dive in and really remind us of what was going on in that time and era, and perhaps what kind of informed the lyrics that he gave the world and the behavior that he exhibited to the world was based on. So I want to say, give this man a round of applause for excellent work, the one and only Justin Tinsley.
Appreciate it, man. Thank y'all for having me, for sure.
Absolutely. And, man, we got his legacy here with us right now. Hey, no, you know what? This man, he's no slouch himself, Heather. We saw him when he broke out on the big screen playing the younger version of his father. We didn't know he had thespian skills. You know this man was an entrepreneur, putting things together big and heavy into fashion. This man hangs out in Oakland. His name ring bell. People call me when you be in Oakland. You don't even know this. And we just recently, Heather B handed me the front page of the paper and saw that Mayor Adams gave you a proclamation.
You got it right there, Sway.
Of where is it?
Under your notes.
Oh, over here. Okay, yeah. That officially, May 21st, in the city of New York.
Yeah.
It's officially Christopher
Yeah.
Notorious B.I.G. Wallace Day.
That's what I'm talking about.
Man.
That's what I'm talking about.
Please welcome CJ to the show.
Yes, sir.
Yo, man.
Thank you for having me.
Come on, man. You know, I met you a few times. Every time I see him, I met you. He don't even bother now. He say, I don't remember before you even go into it. That's what everybody says, man. I see this picture of you holding this proclamation about your pops. And I know people always ask you the same things about your pop, right? But what did it feel like for you to be holding this?
It still don't feel real.
Yeah.
Honestly. Just even look like the fact that this is real is crazy.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel real.
Yeah.
It's something we've always dreamed of. Like, you know, my grandma, my sister, and myself, we always dreamed of, you know. Me and my sister joke, like, it's big day. It's always been big day. So this is big day. People call March 9th big day, Ready to Die anniversary, Life After anniversary. But this is the official big day. So for this to...
Yes, sir.
It's set in stone. And it's written.
That's
so it's
crazy.
official.
That's phenomenal,
It doesn't
man.
feel real, though. It still doesn't
That's
feel
phenomenal, man.
real.
We're still going. Big would be 50 tomorrow.
That's crazy.
Wow.
That's crazy, right?
Come on, man. And, you know, it's the way New York City is putting on today is incredible. I know it's the dinner tonight at the Empire State. And there's so many I don't even know all the activities that are taking place.
It's a lot. It's just a bunch of stuff going on. I'm just scrambling. Wherever Tiana's at, that's where I'm gonna be.
There we go.
How's your grandma?
She's great. She's gonna be at the lighting ceremony as well tonight. So.
Okay, I'm gonna be there as well.
Yeah.
So I'm
It's
coming
gonna be
through.
beautiful.
Justin,
You can't just say lighting ceremony. Let them know what they are freaking lighting up. Are you kidding me, CJ? Don't say lighting.
So they lighten up the Empire State Building.
Man.
The Empire State Building.
My God.
The Empire State Building.
You know,
And with what?
I think it's gonna represent the colors of the Ready to Die album. So it's gonna be red, white, and gold at the top.
Incredible.
Do you feel like through other people's stories and reading these books and hearing this energy from someone like me or Heather B that does it, it gives you any deeper understanding of who your dad was?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. People, like you said, you brought it all up. His comedic energy, his you know, his maturity, it just further establishes like everything that I've been told. So for it to keep coming from different places, and, you know, it's just scary. The fact that we're so similar as well, like, and it's in the DNA. It's crazy.
It's in the DNA, you know, and I think it's great because we all want better worlds for our kids. You know, I got a 23-year-old daughter who just graduated from NYU, and I never got a chance to graduate from college. You know, how I grew up in Oakland is like way different from how she grew up. You know, in the private schools and all of that different things. She's from LA, like you. You're a LA dude. You know, in your book in the chapter that you wrote about CJ.
Yeah.
CJ's a man now. Is that okay?
It's the last chapter in the book.
Last chapter in the book, you mentioned that Big had did a interview with Ego Trippin'. Shout out to Ego Trippin'. Like maybe a week before his untimely demise, and one of the things he said is he didn't want his son to have to grow up selling drugs or picking up guns.
Yeah, it was powerful, man. Like one of the people asked me about the process of writing the book, what I got out of it and what I learned the most and like what moved me the most. One of the reasons I wanted to do this book, because I didn't want to just focus on the highlights or the salacious parts or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, it's not just sold a little drugs, beef with Tupac, and then, you know, unfortunately lost his life in a tragic manner. Yes, some of those things happen, but it's not the entirety of the story. Right. Like, I wanted to peel back the layers, and one of the most powerful things for me was just, like, he was having like a spiritual awakening in the last couple of months of his life, because, you know, he was in a car accident and he was on a cane and he had to go to rehab for a few months, and he gave an interview where he was basically like, yo, I'm living too fast. Like, I can't be doing the things that I was doing before, not thinking some things are gonna catch up with me. And he was like, the people who I spoke to who were talking to him those last weeks and months of his life, he would always be like, yo, I can't wait to get back to New York, take Tiana to the park. I can't wait to see CJ and just, like, you know what I mean, take him to, you know, his practices if he want to do that. If he want to, you know, join this club, he can do that. Like, you mentioned the Ego Trip interview. One of the most powerful things, he was like, yo, I want CJ to be able to do whatever it is he wants to do in life. He don't have to pick up a microphone. He don't have to do that. He don't have to sell a drug, because I've done that and I'm here. And I think he was just growing into fatherhood and, you know, this spiritual sense in a way that it was just so beautiful to witness and so beautiful to hear from other people, man. It's like, that's an element about, you know, not even just Biggie Smalls. That's an element about Christopher Wallace that, in my eyes, doesn't get talked about nearly enough.
Right.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, did you read the book, CJ?
I haven't read it yet.
Okay.
I haven't read it yet.
Yeah, you should have seen what he wrote about you. It ain't even fair. You got to what he said about you, man. I didn't believe it. So we read it right now. So, but one of the things I know that you're big on is entrepreneurship and financial literacy, right?
Yeah.
And so he's like the living manifestation of what Big was talking about, right?
Absolutely.
And Big in his lyrics made us yearn for more, you know, made us want to work for better, work for bigger. The way he talked about opulence, you know, and made it seem reachable to us. It made us very goal oriented, right? And so talk about your plight and how you're taking that part of his legacy to the next, unbeknownst to you that you're extending his legacy. So what is that about?
It's manifestation. I feel like he spoke it into existence, because I believe in, you know, just manifesting your dreams into reality. And, you know, everything he talked about basically sort of came to fruition. And, you know, which is why I don't like to talk about negative things. You know what I'm saying? He talked about a lot of negative. And that's something my dad, you know, the man who raised me, Todd Russo, talked about. You know, when you bring that on, it's going to come back. And, you know, everything that I do is Frank White at this point. You know, you see it right here. That's
the clothing line?
Hard.
Yes, sir.
That's dope.
Yes,
It's hard.
Yes, sir.
You didn't bring an XL?
I got something for you. Just know there's something for you. Just know
we was just at the monogram party, bro. What? Okay,
we got you. But yeah, like, I feel like if I wasn't doing this, I wouldn't really have a purpose. You know, if it's not continuing the legacy, taking it to places that it's never been, you know, branching off, talking about those stories that don't get talked about. You know, that's the important thing for me, thinking about how we can be creative and continuing the legacy. Yeah, that's what me and my sister all think about. That's it.
I hear a certain frequency in the tone of your voice. Can you say baby for me? You're
really stupid, Sway.
Just one time.
A certain frequency in your voice. I want to hear it too.
This ain't the first time I've been on a mic. Come on.
Okay.
You know that. We know that.
Come on, man. All right, Heather, you want to?
No, we're not gonna hear it. I do. Actually,
you kind of wanted to hear it, huh?
I did.
Okay. CJ, you can't do that for us, man.
Of course I can.
Okay, let me hear it.
I can, but can we? Let's wait. Like,
Okay,
let's wait a little bit.
Okay, you committed though.
Well, so speaking of babies, and two things. Question for each of you. CJ, I literally met your mom, first time ever meeting your mom, when she was pregnant with you. Wow. She'd been singing and a star, and I would happen to be on 57th Street one day, and she was across the street, Heather, and I'm like, oh shit, and she was pregnant, and I remember rubbing her belly and just walking away thinking, like, damn, Biggie and Faith are gonna have a baby. Like, this is gonna be crazy. And this is the first day I'm meeting you.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So you talk about manifestation and just not know. It is super freaky to me right now. That's why I hugged you so tight, like one of them aunts. Like, baby, I love you. I remember.
I feel like auntie. This feels like.
Yo, because
I feel like we've met before.
Yeah,
that's
I
crazy.
did. I was rubbing that stuff.
That's
I was
crazy.
rubbing you, your back or something inside your buttons. I was rubbing
hope
something.
it was his back.
Shut up, Sway. A mess. But when did it? Like, what age for you did it click that your parents were famous? Like, super. You know what I mean? Like legacy
really
famous.
Early. It was really early because like when we lived in Atlanta, I was probably between 6 and like 8 or 5 and 8. I don't exactly remember, but I was really young when I realized, like, because we had a studio in our house, and you know, my dad and my mom, you know, we were raised to, you know, be regular kids. It wasn't like we were, you know, always hanging around or doing stuff that was revolved around music. Like, we didn't really. We played basketball, you know what I'm saying? We were
regular kid
you know,
stuff.
we played sports. We was doing active stuff in the communities that we were raised in. So it wasn't like we were always on the road with my mom. We would come to the tours every now and then, but yeah, once we would go to the tours, that was kind of where we knew, like, oh,
Something is
this
going on
is
here.
you know, being in the studio with my mom late nights. I just remember really wanting to, you know, do that. Like, that was always the fun thing, being up late and being in the studio with our mom, like just sitting in the booth while she was recording.
Wow.
That was probably the earliest memories I remember, just being in the studio. But it was very early.
Very early.
Very early. And I knew the significance of this legacy, like, probably around 15. I want to say 15 when it really set in, like, when my grandma sat me down and talked to me, like, okay, like, you do realize, like, in a couple years you're gonna have to, you know.
To the throne.
It was basically that type of conversation. So.
Thank you for sharing that. And with you, Justin, hearing all of this, because I'm always thinking about the person. When I met you the other day up here,
Right.
And Horse told me, my husband was like, he wrote the book. I'm like, here we go. You know, you got, this is a lot to take on. What was your approach and how did you feel? Were you worried about that whole there we go mentality? Like, were you nervous?
Hell yeah, because I had it. You know, the thing was, I first found out about it probably like fall of 2019, and I'm just going through my email. I'm just deleting all this spam, and one said, like, Biggie book. And I'm like, all right, what the hell is this? So I opened it, and it was the gentleman who eventually became my editor on the book, basically saying, you come highly recommended. I've read some of your stuff on, like, Big and hip hop, and I'm looking to commission somebody to write a book on Big for his 50th birthday in May 2022. So now when I first heard that, I'm like, May 2022, it's like September 2019. That's like an eternity.
Right.
I got plenty of time to work on that, not knowing that the world was going to shut down for 2 years.
How about that?
But, you know, fast forward a little bit, we signed the contract, and in the book publishing world, you get half of your money up front and another half once you submit the manuscript. When I got that first check, I ain't gonna lie to you, that was the biggest check I've ever had in my life at one point. And I'm like, oh, we doing this book.
Word.
And then it hit me.
Let's go, Justin.
To be honest, I like that.
Yeah, we doing this book now. Ain't no turning back. But then it hit me like, damn, what the hell am I gonna tell people about Biggie Smalls that they don't already know? Because at this point, he's a folk hero, and he's an icon in our culture and world culture. And I got scared. I was like, I done got myself into something I can't get out now, and I done already spent the money. It felt like a drug deal going bad. I'm like, damn, I done already spent the money. Like, what am I do now?
That's real.
I'm like, damn. Like, all right. And you know, so I started. One of the first people I talked to about this is Cheo Hadari Copeland.
Brother.
Shout out to Cheo.
Shout out to him, man.
Cheo,
Like,
the legend,
please,
legend.
dude. That's a great dude right there. And
yes.
I was nervous to tell him that I was doing it because I knew he knew Big personally. He was one of the last people to talk to him. And, you know, Big really trusted him. You know, Big told him, like, I want you to be basically my Alex Haley.
Oh, wow.
And so, like, okay, that doesn't make me Alex Haley. Then, like, damn. Like, so, but he was like, yo, just, like, take your time. Like, if anybody was going to do this book, I'm glad it's you. Like, I trust you to make this right. And you see the title, Biggie in the World That Made Him. I was like, all right, it's going to be a biography about Big, but I think if I provide context to like what's going on in the world at certain points, then his life will come into more of a distinct visual than it has in the past. Mm-hmm. Like, for example, Ready to Die, one of the greatest debut albums, if not the greatest debut album in rap history, came out September 13th, 1994. A lot of people don't realize earlier that day, the 1994 crime bill was signed into law. And that was the law that basically came up with the term super predators and basically saying that, like, these people in the inner city are going to rob and kill you and X, Y, and Z. Whereas if you listen to Ready to Die under that pretext, it's basically Big responding to congressmen or Washington, D.C. saying, like, okay, y'all are painting us in this certain light, in this certain picture that, yes, things have changed over the years, but I really live in these communities. I'm really going through these type of things. So when you listen to that and you listen to a song like Things Done Change, you listen to a song like Ready to Die or even Suicidal Thoughts, like that, like it just, you look at Biggie Smalls differently in a great way, not different in a bad way. Right. So I did that throughout multiple points of the book, and it just worked. And there was honestly a quote from like Nipsey Hussle that really made me think of Big in a way. He was doing an interview, and he basically broke his logic down why he felt he was so important, and I felt like it applied to Big. Like, if we say America is important to the world, right, in terms of like geopolitical stuff, cultural things like that, and New York City is important to America, which is important to the world. And I know from somebody like me who wasn't from New York, the first person I used to think of when I heard New York, it was Biggie Smalls. It still is.
IG.
So if Biggie Smalls is one of the most important people in New York, and New York is one of the most important things about America, and America is one of the most important things about the world, then Biggie Smalls is one of the most important people to ever live.
Yeah. Right.
And if you think about Big's career, if you take it from the start of Ready to Die to the time that he lost his life, that's 2.5 years. Nobody did as much in a short amount of time as Biggie Smalls.
We were talking about
like nobody else. Like, so when we talk about these all-time great musicians, like or wordsmiths like Mark Twain or William Shakespeare, or like, no, Biggie Smalls is right there. For me, he's more important because I got way more out of Biggie Smalls than I fell asleep reading Shakespeare in school. Not saying that it wasn't dope, but like that's your
pathway.
Shakespeare. Yeah. Like him and Pac and Jay and all these type of people. So
let me add a layer of divine connection to that.
Thank you.
Like the day Pac passed away, September 13th.
Yeah, which is
2
years later, right?
2 years after Ready to Die was released on September 13th. Their cosmic connection, is bigger than those the divisive headlines.
Yeah,
right. CJ, I met your father, introduced him to me by Tupac.
Wow.
First time I met your father was in New York, and they were performing, I want to say, at the Palladium. And I was friends with Pac. I used to hang out with Pac in Oakland, be at his house the whole night. Those two dudes were beautiful together.
Yes.
So when the shit happened, it was like, what's happening?
Right.
They were beautiful together, bro. Right. Like, you got friends. He's more than a friend to me. Rich Nice is a brother. Right. You'll see us interact, and people go, "What's going on with y'all?" It's a beautiful thing. Right. And Pac pitched him to me because we had syndicated radio. If you went to we were those dudes, CJ. I'm just gonna tell you, Sway and Tech, man. They don't tell you the history. Justin to tell you the history, but ain't gonna tell you.
Yeah.
And the New York guys don't always say it. JCJ knows, right? We were those dudes. Ax Flex, he'll tell you. All right. And Pac came down the stairs. Yo, Sway, you got to know him. You got to know this. This is Biggie Smalls. Okay, what's up, man? Your pops was so nice and humble. Man, you got to have him on the show. Pac is always electrified. On 100. And I was like, okay. I was like, you coming to Cali? It was coming to Cali to do that whole Big Mac campaign that they had. I said, well, when you come to the show, you better bring bars. So I had to to your pops. And so I just find even their connection was amazing until it wasn't.
Right. Yeah.
Right? And you tap into that in the book a lot. Right?
I felt like, oh, my fault.
No. Go ahead.
I felt like in the quarter century since both of those, like, icons have been gone, I feel like they've, in a lot of ways, been reduced to like these negative qualities, like beef and like black men just like going against each other, and of course the way that they passed. Like, yes, how they fell out, it was tragic. It was one of the great, injustices I think in rap history that they fell out because, like you said, their friendship was so intense. It was so pure. And I think one thing I definitely wanted to do in the book was, yes, I focus on what happened when it went wrong, but there's a good chunk of the book that talks about their friendship because I think when we don't talk about their friendship, we strip Biggie and Tupac away from their humanity.
Yes.
And
So
like,
how did they meet?
So they met. Big said in a Vibe interview, like Big was Pac was filming Poetic Justice, and they met initially there. But while Pac was filming Poetic Justice, like John Singleton would always be like, when Pac wasn't on set, he would always be playing Party and Bullshit. He was like, that was his favorite song. Like he just kept playing it to the point where, like John Singleton was like, all right, play something else. Like he would just play it like on repeat. And, Pac was in, not Pac, Big was in LA for like that Big Mac tour, and Pac pulled up on the Sheraton in Los Angeles where Big was staying, and Pac was basically like, yo, roll with me, come to my house. And that's when that whole epic, freestyle session happened at Pac's house. Groovy Lou was telling me about this, and he was like, and so Pac pulled up at the hotel, and he was like, yo, B.I., can I roll? And, Big was like, if you with me, you with me. He like, come on. So they went over to Pac's house, and they freestyled for like an hour straight. Like, Pac would freestyle for like 5, 6, 7 minutes, then Big would do it, and like, Pac is like gassing him up the entire time. Like, come on, keep going, keep going, keep going. And then Pac, Pac's always erratic. He stopped freestyling, goes into the kitchen, cooks everybody food. Like they chain smoking, they chain smoking blunts, they drinking whatever. And then out of nowhere, Pac, he leaves again and goes to get like this entire duffel bag full of like unloaded guns. And so, like, Groovy Lou tells this story about how Pac and Big are just running around in Pac's backyard, chasing each other with the guns, like basically like being little kids, like cops and robbers type thing. And it was just, and he says like, yo, bro, when they were around each other, dog, it was just like you can tell they loved being around each other.
Brothers.
Like Pac would pull up on Fulton Street with like trash bags full of weed, and they would just smoke out the corner, and like. Like Lil C's would have to run to the store and go grab like Dutches back and forth, and just like, because it was a constant like assembly line of just like, and it was the good times. Like those good times aren't discussed anywhere near as much as the hit 'em ups of the world or Bad Boy Death Row and things of that nature. And I just think we stripped them of humanity, and especially we had these conversations about Black life in America and what it is now, especially like in the post George Floyd, post Breonna Taylor world. Like, we got to focus on their lives just as much as, unfortunately, how their lives
tragedies.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Wow.
man, get that man. You told
never
this.
even heard
That was a beautiful story.
Yeah, that's what like. How the hell did
That's
they?
a legendary story.
Yeah, how the
Yeah.
hell did they
No one has ever told
meet?
me
Right.
that story.
That's great.
Crazy.
That voice
Yeah.
was Justin
Thank you,
Tinsley.
Justin. Thank you for
appreciate
sharing.
y'all.
Who's
Thank
the
y'all.
author of It Was All a Dream, Biggie in the World That Made Him. And we have his son, CJ, here, who's continuing the legacy. Handsome young man, too.
Thank you, sir.
Man, no problem,
Thank
man. You single, CJ?
What about me?
Yo, Justin, stop, man. I already gave you props.
Fair enough.
It's like a nephew. It's different, man. Stop,
Facts.
man.
I got you.
So you need to be secure in yourself by now.
Next book.
That's what's your personal
Hey,
life
we all
like.
struggle with things.
Yeah, that's right.
No.
You're a handsome gent, too.
I'm messing with you.
You're a handsome gent, a distinguished gentleman.
Nah, but I appreciate. I'll take that. I'll take
Okay.
that.
You good?
You good?
Gas me up. Come on, gas me up.
Justin, you can. Black boy joy.
Oh, stop.
I asked you this because you're a celebrity in your own right? And so, I'm sure you get a lot of attention. How's your social life, being the son of some people who are so iconic?
Like you were talking about. I stick with my crew. You know, it's me and my boys. Just like how it's crazy the similarities in the both of us. Like if you with me, you with me. Like
Wow.
and it's really like that.
Uh-huh.
I try to make sure. Everybody says my dad used to just look out for people all the time to a fault. You know what I mean? And I'm the same way. So if my close knit family, that's what we call it. So.
Okay. Yeah. Did you picked up the mic once, right? Yeah, remember that? Yeah.
I still dabble. You know,
Okay.
I'm just not. That's not the focus for me. But
Okay.
yeah, definitely. I love to write. I love to. I'm a enthusiast of rap, not just rap, but R&B. I sing too.
You sing?
So yeah.
Go ahead, man.
I'm telling you, facts.
I probably sing like jokingly more than I rap.
Wow, I ain't mad at that.
I ain't mad at that either.
Honestly.
That's dope.
Let me hear something, man.
He's trying to put me on the spot.
Trying to get Biggie
It's
in the
free
face.
publicity.
He's like, let's go. Let's hear it.
Just a little riff. No?
Not yet.
Not yet.
He got harmony in his laughter, though. It's cute. And his mama started out in the church. You know he can sing.
So far, you said no to that and baby. You got
Okay, interview ain't over yet.
Okay, go ahead, Tracy. You work them.
Okay. I'm so grateful for both of you guys because you've added so much color to an icon, to your father. And I'm curious, CJ, because we've had many conversations with kin of very famous couples. We've seen many conversations, and sometimes the pressure of keeping a legacy intact can be a lot, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
when you
of
think
course.
of like, okay, passing the torch, you know, the heir to the throne. And I wonder, like, is it difficult for you to ever make sense of keeping your dad's legacy alive, but also carving out your own legacy? Or do you see it as really just focusing on keeping the Wallace legacy?
Yeah, it's definitely difficult to, you want to separate yourself. Obviously, you want individuality, but yeah, like everything we've been doing with Frank White is going to support the legacy at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And Frank White is a living, breathing version of me. Another version of me, and that's just my creative expression. That's just how I can get those ideas out. With all the different partnerships that we've been doing.
Word.
We're announcing the partnership with Lexus this week. So we're working with Lexus.
Lexus. Your dad talked about Lexus.
Yes, sir.
Drive a Lexus, didn't he?
And the connection's there.
Yeah.
It's been there. He like we said, he spoke it into existence. So yeah, they brought back the Lexus LX, the all new 600. I got to drive it around Brooklyn.
That's right. Wow, that's a
Yeah,
flex.
we did a little mini documentary with them, and just talking about legacy and pushing legacy forward in my way, doing it differently. Obviously I love music. It's gonna always be connected to me as something, as a passion, even if I'm supporting other people, getting my Diddy on, being the executive producer. I love to executive produce just as much as I love to write and be involved in the process.
That's what's up.
Yeah, it's never gonna be separate from me. It's
Right.
always going to be focused on,
It's
continuing
unified.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Do you
definitely
consider
unified.
your pops an ancestor? Like, do you feel like you forged a relationship with him beyond the physical?
Definitely. His spirit is everywhere for me.
Yeah.
It goes with me everywhere, and I can't escape it at all. So it's definitely there, especially when I'm in Brooklyn or with my grandma, with Tiana, with the people that knew him most and loved him most.
Do you feel it, or is it something where it's like you can hear it, where there's maybe even direction?
I feel like he's just everywhere. He comes in certain people that I meet.
Yeah.
He's definitely
Yeah.
if I'm hearing him that way, especially with my grandma, it's being in her house she lives in Pennsylvania in Stroudsburg, and it's just like you walk in and you feel that energy.
Yeah.
You feel that energy, and it's a calm energy. It's definitely a loving energy, and yeah, he lives through her. I definitely feel that.
That's special.
Yeah.
I'm glad you have that.
Absolutely. And your grandmother, your grandmother is an icon in her own right. These mothers, these black mothers that have to endure losing their children and continue.
Yeah.
Even prior to his untimely demise, raising a kid, raising her son the way she had to do it primarily on her own, what she had to endure to put him in a position to become who he became.
Exactly.
Well, we're talking about him to this day. We got to acknowledge your grandmother.
Yeah,
Give her a round of
yes.
applause. She's amazing. And regal. Those cheekbones make you straighten up, boy.
Stand up straight.
I'm on my best behavior. I'm not losing slang or nothing around your
Yep.
most humble.
I love you, Mima.
Absolutely.
She gonna hear this for sure.
Absolutely. C's called me earlier in the week or 2 weeks ago, and somebody from Kim's camp had called and invited me to the event tonight, and was asked me to kind of host to some extent. I said, man, it's Big got too many family members and friends that's going to be there that, I'll help direct it, but let's let everybody get it off. Yeah, exactly. However if you need me, I kind of want to be the fly on the wall and experience it. Right. Yeah. I got a chance to, as a promoter, put Big on the stage, and I know what's going to take place tonight. So I had a chance to experience it, but I think it's so amazing to see Kim and C's in unison again. And they have been for years. But I remember a time, I told this story earlier when I was doing some coverage for MTV, and Kim wanted to drive through the neighborhood, so she's like, you got to give me a Rolls Royce. And I don't know those cars. So I had MTV get it, and we was driving through the neighborhood, and I had to call C's. I had been hanging with him like the week prior, eating at some shop he took me to or something, and I had C's. I'm coming to the neighborhood with Kim. And I'm letting you know I'm going to be there. Really to say, man, just pop up. Yeah. And so we had everybody came out, what was it, 226 St. James? Yep. They came to that location, and kids from everywhere, it was in droves, just came out to see Kim. Yeah. And I remember I was sitting there interviewing Kim for MTV, and I see C's in the peripheral. I'm like, oh, snap, damn, is this going to jump off? What's about to happen? Should I have not said nothing, right? And C's gave me the what's up and the whole nine. I'm talking to Kim, and she said, I see your boy over there. I was like, oh, yeah. So I'm explaining to her. She said, it's okay. It's okay. And then I pushed it. I was like, you think we could get you two in the interview? And she looked at me. Then she was like, we could take a picture. And so I got them all, both of them up there to take a picture. And I was thinking, this is the dream. Right. Everybody. So tonight is the dream. Yeah. Tonight is the dream. Everybody that's going to be there that tapped and touched your father. Yeah. Oh, man, I'm about to tear up. Get in there. Somebody get Rich, you got to do it.
Soundboy killer. Come here, Rich.
I'm about to tear up, bro.
It's a beautiful thing, man.
It's going to be beautiful.
It's a beautiful thing.
It's going to be beautiful.
I want to ask both of you a question. Yeah. So I'll start with CJ. So I know it's everywhere you go, people always want to know about music and with your dad and what's going on. What is there? Is there something that you want to do that doesn't pertain to entertainment at all?
Yeah, that's a long list. So, but yeah, like we talked about my acting and stuff. I definitely want to continue that. Directing, I'm huge behind the scenes just as much as I love. I love taking photos. I'm a little fake photographer on the side, so hire me. But yeah, I love just being creative in any way. If it's the fashion, if it's putting parties together. I like to be a host. I like to host people. I like to cook. I don't know if y'all be seeing my smoothie videos and stuff. I be having fun. Like I like to just do whatever. I like to, whatever makes me feel good.
That's dope.
Yeah. So
that's dope. And then for you, sir, this book, I haven't got to read it yet, but I haven't heard any talk of Trackmasters in this book. We got to talk about that. What's going on? Is there no mention of Trackmasters in this book?
What songs did y'all do, Rich?
Ready to Die.
Oh, that's in there.
Yeah, sorry, not Ready to Die. That's the title of the album. One More Chance remix.
Oh yeah.
Juicy.
Oh yeah.
Is talk of it in the book?
Oh yeah. No, there's an entire scene about how the One More Chance remix came to be. Rob Stone told me an incredible story about how. Well, I don't want to ruin it for everybody, but it's in there. Okay. About how it came to be because the third single from the album was almost Machine Gun Funk. And Rob was like, I don't know if that's the way we need to go. You start with Juicy, then you go Big Papa, and it's about to be the summer. We can't hit people with the summer and Machine Gun Funk. And, it's a great song. Easy Mo Beat produced the classic, but he was like, I think you need, Puff, you basically invented the remix. Give us a remix to One More Chance. And the story goes from there. But, yeah, we got Juicy about how, Big was initially reluctant to record Juicy and how Mr. C, who Big trusted implicitly. That was one thing I came to learn about Big was if he trusted you, he trusted you to the end until you gave him a reason not to trust him. And Mr. C was one of the many people that got him in front of Puff, and he told Puff this guy's the one. This guy is the one. And but Big would have to tell him because Big wanted Ready to Die was originally gonna be called Teflon Don. And Puff was like, nah, that ain't it. We got to go with something else. And, you know, Big would kind of get a little perturbed sometimes because he wanted to do his own thing. But Puff would always tell him, like, look, 90% of the album, you can rhyme as hard as you want. I want you to. But that 10%, you got to give me a Big Papa. You got to give me a Juicy. Trust me, I know what I'm doing. Yeah. Like, this is Puff. He was like, look, I got Jodeci popping. I got Mary J. Blige popping. I'm working with Heavy D. Like, I know what I'm doing here. And so Mr. C would have to tell him, like, look, just trust Puff. Like, it's going to work. And so he recorded Juicy, and I mean, well, we know what happened with that song.
Shout out to my partners Poke and Tone, because we took a lot of heat for that song.
Oh man, look. Now I think what the BBC called it the quintessential rap tale of all time. It was voted the number one hip hop song of all time.
Wow. Yeah. BBC. Wow. Yeah. Thank you, Rich Nice. Listen, I know you guys got other things to do. I'll keep you all day. And,
we can chill.
Okay, well, we got baby.
There it is. There it is.
Baby. See that? I knew that's all he wanted. That's all he wanted. That's all he wanted.
Yeah, man. He said you had that frequency in your voice.
Yes, you do.
It's either that or sing.
Exactly.
Thank you, man. We got the artist Marlon Craft who's here. I don't want to cut his shine moment, but you live in L.A.?
Yeah.
We're broadcasting all next week in L.A. You want to come back and talk?
Most definitely.
Come take pictures. We can see your photo game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I brought my camera now so we can see him.
Hey.
You can stay in there and take some pictures.
Stay ready. You ain't got to get ready.
Definitely.
And in L.A. we'll be broadcasting every day.
Week.
Come through. Come hang out. We can talk more, but we got artists coming through. You want to get some pictures? Go to work.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Go to work, son.
Definitely. All right. Definitely. I'm trying to get my portfolio right.
There you go.
Let's
all right,
go.
Cool.
Let's go.
Christopher Wallace. Christopher George Latore
Wallace. Yep.
Latore Wallace Jr. God bless.
My name.
Your name.
Christopher Jordan Wallace. I thought we were saying Christopher George Latore. That was my dad's.
Your dad's name, and yours is Christopher Jordan Wallace.
Jordan Wallace. Yep.
God bless you.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. You represent so much for us, and
Absolutely.
you do it well. I'm glad you turned out great. A lot of these famous kids, man, been ugly. Yo, man, I'm glad.
We ain't got to go down that route.
Yeah, man. Thank you, bro.
Justin said that's the next book.
Oh, not for me. No.
Please, thank you, man. Continue success.
Yes.
You got a global tribe around you.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
You have nothing but success in your journey. You will never fall. And even if you're down, you got people to hold you up.
Absolutely.
You don't have to be perfect. You could be with flaw. You can make mistakes. You're a young man.
Yes,
you're
sir.
25. How about that?
Yeah.
You're the age your
My
dad
God.
was.
I just passed it.
Yes.
You know?
The age
Wow.
he was.
He was 24 when he passed.
So
Wow.
So turning 25 was a very big deal for me.
My God.
Absolutely.
Gosh.
Yeah. I always looked at that day like, man,
Wow.
like that's
Crazy,
kinda,
right?
That's kind of crazy.
the
Wow,
legacy lives on.
Yeah.
Big lives on.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Always.
I'm always thank you when I see you because I see your dad in your eyes, and it's like I feel like cracking jokes on you.
You want a son now, Sway?
Yeah, I got yeah, man. This dude make me want to son.
Eyes glossy as hell over there.
Hey, Flavor Flav had a son that's 63.
Knock it off.
His name is Jordan, too.
Knock it off, Sway. Don't go.
They
No.
don't want to see me happy, yo. I can't get a girlfriend, yo. I can't get a lady. I
He
can't get nothing.
no, CJ, listen, they gotta go through the board first. That's it. Like before you move into a condo, before you get a job, you gotta go through the review board.
Yep.
This is the review board. That's all. And
Gotta
then
get
well,
your
it's
credit
level.
pulled.
It's
Gotta
levels
get
to
your
it.
credit pulled.
He got his mom, his sister, his brother. You get past that level. Then you gotta
jury.
go. You got that's the jury. Yeah. Then he gonna bring them here. And I'm just looking. I'm just saying.
Not judgmental. Just looking.
Just looking. Yeah. Thank you, Heather. Justin Tinsley, congratulations.
Yes.
Appreciate
Yes.
you, brother. Thank y'all. Thank y'all so much. Thank
you
y'all.
created a milestone in hip hop history.
Yeah,
you
bro.
should be proud as a journalist.
I'm very proud.
The
Very
true art
proud.
of journalism has become really murky.
That it has.
In the past recent years.
That it has.
Especially
Tell the
broadcast
truth.
journalism.
Tell the
It's
truth.
becoming murky.
Yeah.
You know, people are changing stories to fit their agenda, and the truth isn't there. Here, you captured the truth in a way that I've yet to see.
Thank you so much,
So
man.
congratulations.
I appreciate
that's
that.
awesome.
Absolutely,
I appreciate
man.
that. Thank y'all.
Okay, y'all go have a great day. I'll see y'all tonight at the Empire State.
Yes, sir.
I don't have the black tie attire they are requesting. Would you stamp me though if I come?
Oh
to-
yeah,
okay,
definitely.
good.
He's with me.
Okay, that's
Easy.
thank
Plus
you, man.
one.
I appreciate it. So I want to play the last known freestyle that I know of that Big did. Was on my show with
Yup.
Sway and King Tech and DJ Revolution. And I'm proud because he was a rapper's rapper. You know, he was somebody that no matter how huge he became, he was promoting the second album. He didn't have to do that. Knew the importance of preserving that part of our culture that's unique to this culture alone. That's our identity. You ain't seeing rock dudes freestyle. You ain't seeing country music guys freestyle like
sure.
this. This is what helped us catapult this important leg of the culture, and your father was true to culture from day one. All right, so thank you all. Appreciate you. We got Marlon Craft coming up next. Here's Big.